The Prime Minister has apologised for claiming a media company was dealing with a harassment complaint when in fact it wasn't. Scott Morrison says he deeply regrets his comments during yesterday's press conference. Labor says his remarks could stop people from coming forward with workplace complaints out of fear their stories will be publicly aired. Political reporter Stephanie Boris joins us now from Parliament House in Canberra. Steph, g'day. So what led to this apology?
Good morning, Joe. Well, yesterday we heard Prime Minister Scott Morrison at a press conference saying that he's heard and he's listened to concerns of women across the country over the past 5 weeks. But shortly after giving this very emotional speech about the need to look after women and to try and ensure that they feel safe and protected in workplaces and the community, Scott Morrison went on to say in this press conference, he actually lashed out at a News Corp journalist who questioned him about the behaviour of coalition staffers. Scott Morrison saying that News Corp was dealing with its own harassment complaint, and that's just moments after he said that he'd listened to women. Most women wouldn't want allegations of harassment aired on national television, and Labor accused him of weaponising this supposed complaint. We later learnt from News Corp that the company is not dealing with such a complaint. It's not got any investigations underway at the moment, and the chair of News Corp, Michael Miller, put out a statement saying the Prime Minister's comments undermine the principle that people must be able to raise issues safely and in confidence. As a result, late last night, about 11 p.m, Joe, Scott Morrison put an apology on his Facebook page. His apology said that he deeply regretted what he called his insensitive response and that he accepts News Corp's account. The fact that he was wrong to raise this and the emotion of the moment is no excuse. Now, we've been hearing from members of Parliament across both sides of politics this morning responding to Scott Morrison's apology. One of them is Liberal MP Katie Allen, and she says it was appropriate for Scott Morrison to apologise.
What is unfortunate is the dialogue is not about the solutions for women. The dialogue is about a misstep in questioning, and quite right, he was withdrawn what he said, and that is absolutely right. He shouldn't have said what he said. But what I'm interested in is a Prime Minister who's delivered a safe country last year through COVID, who has delivered a strong economy, and I'd like to see him deliver what we would regard as one of the most difficult problems for women across this country. I think women want to hear what is it that this Parliament is going to deliver for them, and that's what I want to hear about from the Prime Minister. So, yep, absolutely a misstep. I completely agree with that. Let's move on.
There's a deeper problem with what the Prime Minister did yesterday, which is right now we're engaged in a big review of culture here at Parliament House. To participate in that review, people have to have confidence that they can come forward and tell their story confidentially. What the Prime Minister did yesterday really undermined that. It's hard enough to get current and former staff, current and former MPs to tell the Sex Discrimination Commissioner what happened to them without the Prime Minister undermining any notion of confidentiality this way.
Labor's Tanya Plibersek there. And so, Steffi, we watched that media conference yesterday and there was this significant change in tone from the Prime Minister when it came to discussing the issue of the treatment of women. But he said in that media conference that yesterday wasn't a day to list what action will be taken. So where's that discussion now about what is actually going to happen?
Well, the Prime Minister, after that press conference, did speak with coalition staffers about some measures that he believes should be put in place to ensure that Parliament House is a safer workplace. One of those elements is to ensure mandatory training of workplace safety measures, and that has to be face-to-face training so people understand what's expected of them here at Parliament House and how they can raise a complaint if necessary. The other big conversation that's happening specifically within the Liberal Party is this idea about quotas, because just 1/4 of the Liberal Party's elected representatives are women, and that's raised questions about whether more female parliamentarians would change the way the building operates. In the past, most senior government MPs have been against the idea of quotas, but we're hearing a growing number of senior government MPs and backbenchers, the Prime Minister as well, saying, look, the current situation isn't seeing the number of women increase. Maybe we do now need to look at quotas and reassess the situation there.
And Steph, on a separate issue, what's happening with the vaccine rollout?
So we've just heard from the Federal Health Minister, Greg Hunt, who's been talking about the fact that the Therapeutic Goods Administration late yesterday approved the local production of the AstraZeneca vaccine here. So it means about 800,000 vaccines can now be rolled out across the country. Of course, keep in mind there's only 1,000 GPs that can administer this jab to those in Phase 1B at the moment. There have been some problems with this rollout, not many vaccines getting to the GPs. Some GPs not getting any vaccines at all. The government insists that the rollout will ramp up over time. Now, one area of most concern was the fact that because of the flooding, not all of the GPs registered on that list could actually receive the vaccine. At the beginning of the week, we heard that was about 50 GP centres. Greg Hunt announcing today that it's about 38 GP centres left that are still yet to get the vaccine, but that is because they're simply not accessible at the moment. Those GP clinics are closed due to the flooding we're seeing across New South Wales and parts of Queensland.
Anyway, Stephanie Boris reporting there from Parliament House in Canberra.